going to be a very hard time for people who defend Zionism. So this is a psychopath being called out for the obvious double standard of them pretending to care about Russia killing civilians. Meanwhile, Israel has stated that their goal is to go after civilians. They view all civilians as Hamas. They go after journalists. They committed war crimes, all this nonsense. So they're going to be grilled about this double standard. And it is just now starting because after this tragedy and genocide, people have had enough. All the cowards are realizing that their legacy will be forever tainted by this. So they're speaking up. Listen to this clip for the violent hypocrisy of the United States and the West.
Of internal determinations here at the State Department.
I would say you've come out much more quickly than that. Given the amount of time that the bombing has been going on in Gaza, you've had enough time. You've had more time than in some cases.
We have not seen Russians warning civilians to vacate apartment buildings when they launch them. We've seen evidence in Russia's case of deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure.
So you have made some kind of assessment.
I'm saying
is the value kind of low, guys?
Difference in the situation.
I think it's kind of low, isn't it? I can't increase it.
You have made a determination.
Let me know how the volume is.
What you just said to Simon is that you made a determination that Russia deliberately targeted civilians, and you have made a determination in this case that Israel is not deliberately doing that. I'm sorry, I don't see. There's no other way to read what you.
We were able to show and make the determination in the case of Russia.
Yeah, I apologize. It's a bit low, guys. I see that. Unfortunately, this video came in pretty low for me. But what they're doing, they calling out the State Department for pretending to care about civilian deaths that when Russia did it. Meanwhile, Israel is literally killing as many civilians as they can, and now the White House and U.S. officials are saying there's no red line. They're allowed to do that. Listen to this.
They were intentionally.
You guys probably got to turn the video. I apologize that this video is low, but I try to explain what's going on here.
Targeted civilian, and you have made a determination in this case that Israel is not deliberately doing that. I'm sorry, I don't see. There's no other way to read what you.
We were able to show and make the determination in the case of Russia that they were intentionally targeting civilian infrastructure. We have not come to that conclusion here.
He said that they came to the conclusion that Russia was targeting civilian infrastructure and civilians, but they have not come to that conclusion that Israel is doing that. Are you serious? The United States didn't come to the conclusion after all the death and destruction that we've seen that Israel is targeting civilians. And they're going to call them out on this. And I apologize that it's a little bit low, but I'm going to explain what he says here, hopefully.
With Israel.
With Israel, yeah.
Okay, so that means that you have thus far determined that Israel is complying with the laws of war.
It does not mean that. It means that we have not conducted. Again, Matt, I know you want me to make a claim that usually is at the end of a formal legal process, and I'm not able to do that.
I don't think that's correct at all. And in fact, it's exactly as Simon said. You guys were very quick off the bat to accuse Russia of, and probably correctly, of committing war crimes and doing that kind of thing. But in this case, and it's now 2.5 weeks in, you guys are saying you guys won't say whether you will make a determination, even though many others have. Or many others have weighed in, either on the yes, they are.
If you can't hear it, this is the part where he's like, are you serious? There's been many people who made a calculation that Israel is killing civilians. This is very widely available data. How is it possible that you guys have not come to the conclusion that Israel is committing ranked war crimes? That is what he's saying in a nutshell. Let continue.
No, they are not complying.
I'm saying
and so I think that what the world is looking for is a clear statement from you guys, whether you think that they are heeding your advice. And it sounds to me as though you're saying, yes, they are. But you then, when you're pressed on that, you won't give an answer.
Again, we believe they are listening to our advice, but I cannot make the formal. I just cannot make the formal determination when it comes to every one of the strikes that's been launched. Let me go ahead, Said. Go ahead,
right here,
and then we'll,
just very quickly. So you're saying,
I do want to give other people a chance. But go ahead.
You're saying that dropping leaflets on people.
I'm sorry.
Dropping leaflets on people, telling them that we're going to bomb this site, like 3 or 5 minutes before, is actually complying with the laws of war. Is that what you said?
Said, I am not able to sit here at this podium and talk about the specifics of every site. I let you finish the question. Let me finish the answer.
Sure.
Of every.
He's like, bro, I can't sit here and explain the specifics. Is Israel killing civilians or not? Bro, these journalists are getting frustrated with this. And everyone in the world sees this. Everyone in the world, except the psychotic United States and Israel, sees this and realize how crazy the United States is.
Individual strike. To make a determination of a war crime, you need to be able to do these very fact-specific determinations and compare them about what international law requires and see if the international law has been violated. I'm not able to make that assessment, certainly not as you know, with facts that you were giving to me about whatever strike.
You just said they informed them.
He said we cannot make the analysis that international law and crimes against humanity was committed. Remember, the United States government is the same people that said that Israel did not kill Shireen Abu-Akleh. We can't confirm that. You guys see how they always play fucking stupid when it comes to Israel? That's why I don't condemn Hamas. I don't fall for the bullshit. Because if it wasn't for the United States, Israel would be known officially as the criminal terrorist regime that they are. The UN and many human rights organizations and countries and coalitions have tried to condemn Israel. The only reason they can't is because the United States and sometimes the UK and France veto power. That's it. And they're being comically upset with this guy who is complicit with genocide. Everyone who is shielding Israel from their crimes, anyone who speaks out against a ceasefire is complicit with this. Do you guys understand the unhinged position of the Biden administration and by extension, the entire Democrat and Republican Party? They've been openly saying that a ceasefire, let me see if I pull up the receipt, ceasefire benefit Hamas. But that's been the messaging of the Biden administration. There can't be a ceasefire because a ceasefire assists Hamas. Man, I'll search my tweets. But let's get this straight. A ceasefire benefits Hamas. Peace in Ukraine benefits Putin. You guys notice how in the West, any conversation about peace is somehow viewed as a negative? Weaponized hypocrisy is the highest form of corruption. I actually didn't read that anywhere. I made that up. But it is. I've been saying that for a very long time. The people who weaponize their hypocrisy are the most corrupt souls in politics. The people that say that Ukrainians had the right to defend themselves against the Russian invasion, even though they're supporting genocidal Nazis in Ukraine. They believe that Ukraine can defend themselves, but not Palestinians. You know what I mean? That violent hypocrisy is the highest form of corruption in my mind. So here's John Kirby, the psychopath we heard earlier, because we got receipts on these people, and these people may be protected. They're gonna live privileged life they're gonna live privileged existence for the rest of their life, but they have no idea how much they shame their family name, themselves. They will never be viewed as respectable people by society forever now. They will be protected. They will be shielded by their gay communities. But we got receipts on these genocidal psychopaths forever now. So watch the violent hypocrisy of the Biden administration here, how they view the killing of civilians in Ukraine versus the killing of civilians in Israel. So let's check this out.
This is war.
So this is
it is combat.
This is all right. I just want to make sure. This is the statement from John Kirby regarding Israel genocide against the Palestinians and how he's excusing that.
This is war. It is combat. It is bloody. It is ugly, and it's going to be messy. And innocent civilians are going to be hurt going forward. I wish I could tell you something different. I wish that wasn't going to happen. but it is going to happen, and that doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it dismissible.
You guys see that pause there? He couldn't even bring himself to say it doesn't make it wrong. He's not allowed to say killing civilians is wrong here. You guys see how he checked himself? He said, well, killing civilians, it doesn't make it right that it's going to happen. It doesn't make it... And he caught himself because he's not allowed to say killing civilians is wrong. Look at this.
It doesn't make it dismissible. It doesn't mean that we aren't going to still express concerns about that. And going
I want you guys to see him catch himself here.
I wish I could tell you something different. I wish that wasn't going to happen. But it is going to happen. And that doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it dismissible.
You guys see how he can't even bring himself to say it's wrong. You guys think that's not on purpose? That's very purposeful what he just did there. It doesn't make them right, but this is absurd. And you can't even say it makes them wrong.
Doesn't mean that we aren't going to still express concerns about that and do everything we can to help the Israelis do everything they can to minimize it. But that's unfortunately the nature of conflict. This is
so when it comes to Israel committing a genocide against the Palestinians, war is messy. Come on, man. There's nothing that we can do about it, even though we arming them. We're directly responsible for the fact that Israel can get away with this stuff, and we are supplying them the weapons to massacre children. We armed the Iron Dome so Israel can slaughter Palestinians with no consequence. But come on, man. There's deaths of civilians. These things happen, man. Meanwhile, look at the rhetoric he had regarding Russia and Ukraine. Look at him trying to win an Oscar here.
It's hard to look at what he's doing in Ukraine, what his forces are doing in Ukraine, and think that any ethical, moral individual could justify that. It's difficult to look at the It's difficult to look at some of the images and imagine that any well-thinking, serious, mature leader would do that. So I can't talk to his psychology, but I think we can all speak to his depravity.
This fake motherfucker. So when it comes to civilian deaths caused by Russia, this nigga about to have a breakdown. Trying to win an Oscar here. And you guys think that he did not know he was going to say this. This guy's seen these photos. He's seen the tragedy of war. And you guys think that he just randomly has a mental breakdown and about to cry despite this guy professionally deals with war. He sees civilians' deaths all the time. But you guys think he legitimately just had an emotional breakdown there. The most obviously planned fake crime bullshit ever when talking about crimes committed by Russia. But when Israel killed Palestinians, oh, come on, man. It's just war, man. There's nothing we can do. Then just things are messy. You guys want to see this fake ass shit again?
That. It's difficult to look at the It's difficult to look at some.
So this guy who do these press conferences all the time, is engaged in tragedy all the time, seeing all the death and destruction in the world. He now has an emotional breakdown over Ukraine and Russia. You guys think that's not planned, set? U.S. politics it's just Hollywood with ugly people. This is a guy that wished he was better looking, so he can play Wolverine in the MCU or some shit. If he was younger and better looking, he'd be auditioning for Spider-Man. You know what I mean? But he's ugly, and he comes from privilege, so he got in politics. People in politics, they're not handsome enough to be the lead of Titanic, so they become a senator. That is what politics is. It's Hollywood for ugly people. Hollywood for the bourgeoisie.